Welcome to True Crime Unleashed. Now, for the past 2.5 years, we've been deep diving into the Idaho 4 case or the Brian Koberger case. And for the first, I say, year to year and a half, we've always looked at the University of Idaho with a suspicious light, with the way they handled this case and the way they acted during this case, the way they distanced themselves from the actual unalivings of Kaylee, Maddie, Xana, and Ethan by claiming it was their off campus home. They were killed in their off campus home. Everything with the University of Idaho was suspicious to us all. Then I found out that the University of Idaho student media has put in a motion to get the gag order lifted, basically. On July 2nd, 2025, Brian Koberger pled guilty to the murders of four University of Idaho students and to one count of burglary. Mr. Koberger's plea sharply changed the Sixth Amendment fair trial First Amendment balance in this case. At the request of the state and with agreement of Mr. Koberger, the court left the non-dissemination order in place until Mr. Koberger's sentencing, which is set for July 23rd, 2025. However, the non-dissemination order and its infringement on the First Amendment rights of the media is no longer justifiable and should be vacated immediately. According to a coalition of media organizations, including American broadcasting companies, ABC, the Associated Press, Bonner County Daily Bee, CBS, CNN, Cowles Publishing, uh, DBA, the Spokesman Review, Coeur d'Alene Press, Daily Mail, East Idaho News, LLC, Fox News, Idaho Press Club, Ion Media Networks, LLC, Court TV, KXLY, Lewiston Tribune, TPC Holdings Incorporated, Moscow Pullman, Daily News, TPC Holdings Incorporated, Scripps Media, Society of Professional Journalists, States Newsman. Well, with all of those very high profile news and media companies, there's one that stands out. University of Idaho Student Media, the Argonaut. The Media Coalition respectfully moves this court for leave to file their motion to vacate the non-dissemination order, filed contemporaneously herewith. See the Associated Press versus Second Judicial 19, and which is uh, Idaho Rule 172. Both state and federal courts often permit the media to intervene in criminal cases on a limited basis, or at least file a motion as interested parties. In the defense of public access and free speech, including in Idaho, the Media Coalition further requests the opportunity to present the accompanying memorandum, the declaration of Rebecca Boone, in support of motion to be heard and vacate non-dissemination order, and declaration of Wendy J. Olson in support of motion to be heard and vacate the non-dissemination order. Okay, you have all these media companies wanting this gag order removed so they can start reporting on everything about this case. But the U of I now all of a sudden wants to know what's going on in this case. Well, their student media anyway, the Argonaut, they're going to have to wait until the sentencing because they can file their motions and request to be heard, but knowing Judge Hippler, he's going to leave that gag order on until sentencing. But why all of a sudden does the University of Idaho student media want to start writing about this case when for 2.5 years they didn't want nothing to do with this case because poor their students were killed in it basically was a sorority house or fraternity house, and they kept saying they're off-campus homes. So why now, after 2.5 years, do they want to all of a sudden start covering this case when they could have been covering this case from day one instead of trying to distance themselves from this case? Make that make sense. The University of Idaho, for the last, even the first year of this case, didn't want nothing to do with this case or at all. They even tore down the crime scene because they thought it was an eyesore and they didn't want to remember what happened in that house. And it was their way of collectively healing, i.e., that's what Scott Green had stated, that they wanted to collectively heal as a community. So, so they tore the house down, which went against what the parents were wanting, namely the Gonzaleses and the Laramies and the Conodals. Now, I can understand, ABC News, CBS, Law and Crime Network, News Nation, which I don't hardly watch anymore. All these other newspapers, they're in Idaho. But the University of Idaho student media now wanting to write about this case just because Brian took a plea deal. Now you're wanting to write about this case? That don't make no sense to me. Why the University of Idaho student media wants to cover this case now after it's pretty much well over? That kind of sounds sus to me. You had your chance to cover this case when it was ongoing. Now, with him taking a plea and the sentencing coming up on the 23rd, now all of a sudden the University of Idaho wants to cover this story. Something's rotten in Denmark, in my opinion. It really is. Just don't make no sense, guys. They really don't. They're going to have to wait until the sentencing, just like all the other media companies are going to have to wait. I mean, yes, they filed motions to be heard to get it lifted, but it's not going to be lifted not till after the sentencing, and we have Bill Thompson to thank for that because the judge was wanting, made the statement uh, about the non-dissemination order. Should he go ahead and lift it? And Bill Thompson was like, no, 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 wait till the sentencing, wait till the sentencing. So the judge could have lifted it right then, but he listened to Bill Thompson, so he's going to wait till the sentencing. So now all these media companies are going to have to do the same. I mean, even the University of Idaho student media, the Argonaut, they're going to have to wait too. And that just irritates the hell out of me. The University of Idaho, now all of a sudden, their student media wants to cover the case when they could have been covering the case for the last 2.5 years, but they distanced themselves from it. Y'all have a good night. This is True Crime Unleashed. I just had to get that off my chest. Peace out, guys.